Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Field, a Mayford podcast where we talk with educators in the field to hear about their perspectives and experiences. My name is Jake Burson, Advocacy Chair for Mayford, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Adam Joyce. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Jake.
It's so excited to connect with you, and thank you so much for saying yes to the podcast. Before we get started, what's making you smile these days?
So the school year just ended. So like any teacher, I am, excited to have a little time off. Mainly to spend it with my wife and son. First child is about to turn one. So that's really exciting stuff, and seeing him grow has been awesome. And I'm also starting a new summer job this summer, working at a camp in Weston branches, in which I'll be their ropes course supervisor. So
Well, that
taking
sounds
the
cool.
taking the yearly job to the summer.
Very nice. Is that the name of it? Branches?
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Awesome. So, Adam, tell us more about who you are and how you started your education journey.
So for me, I knew really young that I wanted to teach. My dad's side of the family is filled with teachers, whether they're in public schools or working at my dad's parents' dance studio. Believe it or not, I have a grandfather that's 92.
Oh, wow.
He retired at 75 and is still long-term subbing.
Good for
Uh,
him.
so yeah, it kind of runs in the blood. And I really get to see the impact that they had on kids growing up. And getting to be around that was awesome. Um, I actually originally went for history teaching,
Hmm.
um, and it just wasn't for me. And um, took a year to figure that out. But left Salem for a year, went to community college and found PE, which I loved, and I had a great professor there that really got me going in the right direction. Um, did 2 years of community college there,
Hmm.
and then went back to Salem to finish. Um, had no luck interviewing all summer long till the week before school started, and Dr. Gala from Salem called me up and asked if I was still looking, and then I said, "Yep." And she goes, "All right, I'm going to hang up now, and somebody's going to call you for an interview tomorrow. Take it."
And that was
And
that, right?
and I've been in Watertown for the 12 years since.
That's
So
awesome.
it was a great blessing.
That's really fantastic. You were in the right spot at the right time. And yeah, I know Dr. Gallo. She's been there a long time. She's a great professor. So that's
Uh,
awesome.
Amazing, amazing person.
Very cool. So, Adam, just going on to teaching now. What are some ways you engage and support your students? You're at the high school level, right?
Correct. Yeah, Watertown High School.
Hmm.
For me, so I teach Project Adventure, and you just do so much talking about learning to work with people, and
Hmm.
in the field working with kids, they need to know that you're invested and that you care.
Hmm.
So right away, you have to show it, and a big part of Project Adventure is trying to get the kids to loosen up and not be too cool for school. And I'm also a sports coach, and I think when they see me acting kind of foolish and goofy early on in some of the icebreaker activities, I think I think that really does help break the the seriousness of being a high schooler,
Hmm.
and then just whenever I get chances to talk to the kids, don't talk about phys ed, talk about what they like, what they do, and trying to get buy-in quick,
Hmm.
I think is huge. And again, I think a lot of that comes from showing interest in them and their interests outside of your world. And I think if you can get that, I think the rest comes pretty easy.
Yeah, that's good advice. Be more interested in what they're about, and then instead of trying to be interesting. So, you mentioned Project Adventure and icebreakers. Are there certain icebreakers you like to utilize, or how does all that work?
Oh yeah, I've got my core set. An early one that I like, uh, rock, paper, scissors evolution,
Hmm.
where you go through different stages and you got to win rounds as cavemen and uh, dinosaurs. And again, it's just one of those, the kids see you look foolish, and a lot of them will jump, and some of them still hold off. But um,
That
that
sounds
one's
cool.
that one's probably a favorite.
Rock, paper, scissors, evolution. Yeah, maybe you can send me some information about that later.
Yeah, sure.
That sounds good. So, Adam, how would you describe quality physical education?
First and foremost, you need teachers that love what they do.
Hmm.
I truly believe that. I think that's where it starts. If you're just there to have a job and collect a paycheck, it's not going to work.
Right.
Um, you need to love it, in my opinion. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. It's a firm belief of mine. I think you need to have a well-rounded um, program.
Hmm.
I think you need to. It just can't be the same thing year after year after year.
Hmm.
I was really lucky to see this firsthand when I student taught in Hamilton Wenham. Their program it just had everything and different classes. And you want to, in those 4 years you got the kids, you want to, I think the goal should be to give them at least one thing that they might like and want to do for the rest of their lives.
Hmm.
Um, we have three phys ed teachers and a health teacher, so they get health, they get fitness. We do an individual activities for a lifetime class. We do a team sports and netball. And then we have my project adventure class. Um, I would love to see if we could diversify it more, but our schedule is kind of restrictive. It's what we got. But the more different things that you can give kids, I think the better. Because again, I think the goal should be to give them something that they can do and like after high school so that they can stay physically active.
I agree 100%, especially if they're seeing the same teacher instructor year after year, right? Do they see everyone or do they rotate through all the instructors, all the teachers?
So they will see each of the four of us. Yeah, we all teach our one course.
And your focus is project adventure, right?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So, in your work with stakeholders and other professionals, are there any questions that you seem to hear again and again in regards to physical education?
Uh, for me, I do get a lot of not knowing what project adventure is.
Hmm.
It is still a very unique thing. It's not seen everywhere. I got really lucky in high school being exposed to it. Which and he was an older teacher too, and I think that was even rarer. Um, Granted, it's been around, especially in Mass, since it was birthed in Hamilton, Wenham, and Beverly. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of what is it, and I love getting to talk about it. I mean, I actually one of my favorite nights of the year is open house with the parents
Hmm.
because again, a lot of them don't know, and I call it my song and dance, but I'm so passionate about it because I've been doing it for so long and getting to describe to people that it's not what they grew up with phys ed class back years ago. It's again, my goal is to get them to learn how to work with the people and to be able to take those skills out of high school. And I think as I explain that, I love the responses and the feedback I get from people on how it seems interesting and they wish they would have had that growing up and things like that. So
So
I would
you're
say that's the most common is just the unfamiliarity with what it is that I teach.
Well, it's definitely a life skill to be able to communicate and work with others. I mean, we need that no matter what job we end up having, right? How to communicate, listen, trust, be honest. So you mentioned some of the parents gave you some responses and you liked their response. Were they happy when you explained to them about Project Adventure? They're like, "Oh, this is great."
Oh yeah, especially from I think the biggest responses I get are from the parents who have children that don't necessarily like sports.
Hmm.
Because again, it's giving them something that they can take out of the class, and it's still, we still do some physically active stuff.
Hmm.
It is a lot less than a more traditional class, but then we do get to the rock climbing, part of it, and that's where that comes from, and a lot of those kids usually really fall in love with that, and we're really lucky to have a rock climbing gym in town in Watertown, uh, Central Rock Gym, and then there's also two other ones located right in Waltham, right next door. So I really like exposing these kids to the availability of different ways of being physically fit. After you leave high school, it doesn't just have to be sports.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of students they they don't gravitate to the team stuff. Some of them like the individual things and like kind of that, what is it, challenge by choice and different things that they can do individually. So that's great. And it's also good that there's rock gyms around. So
Yeah.
after they get taught the skill, they can go out and utilize it right away. So that's great.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to somebody new entering the field?
Again, I hate to repeat myself, but I just said it, but I do think you have to love what you do. Um, I it's been a crazy couple of years for me, but I've never not gotten up and not wanted to go to work, and I wanted I'm there for the kids, and I I think you want to show up and look like you like what you're doing. If you're just showing up and you're miserable and you're just there to work, um, I think it's easier for the kids to tune you out, wish they were on their phones and not pay attention. It goes back to that buy-in piece.
Mhm.
I think if you can sell that you're enjoying what you're doing, I think it's a lot easier to get them to buy in with you. I think it's huge.
So let's go back to the actual curriculum piece. How you do you see them for a semester, or how many days a week do you see them for your students?
So I think we've got a pretty good schedule. We're pretty lucky. We're 7 day, we go off a 7 day schedule.
Hmm.
You see them 6 out of the 7 days, and it rotates what block each day. So you get to see them at different times of the day, and you get to see them a lot. It's really nice. I think we're pretty lucky with how much we get to see the kids.
That's unique. I've never heard of a 7-day rotation schedule. Is that common in Watertown or your area? I've never heard of that
Um,
type of schedule, but
I gotta be honest with you, I don't know. Every place that I've worked, well, which isn't a lot because I've only been in Washington since I graduated college, but the places that I student taught and did observation practicums, they were all different. My high school was very different. Um, I've enjoyed this schedule. I do think there's a chance it might change. We're moving into a new building uh, after next year, so we'll
oh,
see.
that's exciting. What's with new gym space, new
Oh,
equipment?
we're making out great. It's the mock-ups and the computer animated things that they all look really nice. They've done a lot. They're ahead of schedule. I've been really lucky. I've gotten to be involved in quite a bit of the process
Oh, that's
in
really
terms of
good.
when it comes to the gym. They didn't need to do that, but um, it's been really cool to see come along.
So maybe 2027 we're looking at 2000.
So we're moving in. The move-in date is right after April break in 26.
Okay, 26. Okay. Yeah, so that'll be here before you know it. So
Can't
that's
wait.
great. That's awesome. So Adam, my next question, I think there's a couple fields of thought on this. What are your thoughts in regards to AI in the field of physical education?
So I'm gonna try not to sound like a grumpy old man,
Uh,
even though I kind of am in regards to this. Um, it's not my favorite.
hmm
Um, Again, my course is about working with humans and learning how to work as a team, how to lead, how to communicate, how to listen,
hmm
how to take a step back and process and game plan. And so for me, I'm just like, no, 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 no. Like it's time to talk to people. It's time to get off the phones and the Chromebooks and work with humans. So it's not for me. Um, I also have the kids do a reflection paper
hmm
at the end of the semester, and I want their opinions. I want what you guys think and saw and felt, and how did the class ultimately work together. Um, there's no right or wrong answers. It can be good, bad, no research needed. I just want your opinions, and I always get one a year that just tries to just go to ChatGPT and enter my prompt and submit it, and I've I don't know if they have got one 3 years in a row that I've had to have a conversation with. So
Hmm. Well,
it's
how many
it's just
students?
not for
Yeah,
me. The
right.
AI.
No, that's okay. So just going back to, you mentioned they write a reflection paper. What are some of, if you don't mind me asking, what are some of the things they've said about the course? Some,
It's it ranges for each kid. Yeah, some of
Mhm,
them, it really strikes home for them. They love it. They've really enjoyed it.
mhm.
I've had kids that just, are in a tougher group and the class doesn't come together as smoothly, and it's this one kid that's trying to do great, and you know they're trying to drag some kids along that aren't as motivated, and it's a hard class for them. And
Mm.
it's fun because then I get to have that discussion with them. You're not always going to be with people that are super motivated, and sometimes you gotta find ways to, you know,
Work
try
with
to
them. Yeah.
entice them a little bit and
Right.
work with them, and so it doesn't feel as much like dragging, but it's a
Mm.
reality. Like we're all going to work with people that aren't going to be as motivated as us as times.
Absolutely. Again, it's a life skill, the things you're teaching them, your students. So that's great. My next question is, in the question I gave you earlier, you mentioned that you give your students a project at the end of the course.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Um,
Yeah, so this one is a really great project that I love. I did originally steal it from a teacher that I was in Watertown, and I've definitely gone along and tweaked it. And you actually did a podcast with a former colleague of mine, Miss Glenn Cross. She really helped me tweak and um, make it look like it looks today. But I'm always tweaking it. So what it is Project Adventure is built of all these different initiatives, these puzzles, these problem-solving activities,
mhm.
and a great way that I get to, at the end, see if the students really understood the concepts of it. I talk about the Project Adventure themes, and they get to design their own game, and then they are going to create a visual aid for it, present it, and then we play their game.
That's
And
cool.
it's really cool. The kids a lot of times really love it. Some great things are created. I've used games that kids have created, and it's like, I mean, I got to think back in the 60s and 70s when Project Adventure was created. Like, this is how these games kind of came to be, was just a group of people sitting there thinking up these weird, funny things, and you get these great life lessons out of them.
I
So
like I like
it's
that a
a
lot.
really neat
So
project.
what are some of the criteria for the games? Does it have to have certain elements in it, or what are the how
So the biggest one is when I like what I use is like the crux of my class, the Project Adventure themes is we talk about teamwork, communication, problem solving, critical thinking,
Mhm.
trust, leadership, and getting out of your comfort zone. And their game has to encompass at least one of those themes. And they have to be able to defend their reasoning why that is seen in their game and explain how it works.
I see. So they have to kind of like justify why they put that element in the game and
Yep.
how it integrates with the game. Interesting.
It's a fun thing. I love it.
Very cool. So Adam, moving on, do you have any goals for the future that could be either personal and professional? Nothing crazy. What are you looking forward to?
Um, Personally, again, like I said, I'm just looking forward to some time with my wife and son. It's been a pretty crazy couple of years, so I think we're looking to take a little bit of a breath now that he's 1 year old. Professionally, I can't say any goals. I'm just really antsy to get into our new building, get my hands on all of our new Project Adventure equipment and space, and get rocking and rolling on that. It's been a trying couple of years being in a temporary space, so really the focus has been on that, and the light of the end of the tunnel's close.
It'd be good to have a space that's your own, right?
Yeah,
That's
you know,
great.
it's been rough.
Well, like you said, the light's at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
Do you have any advice you can share with our listeners? Anything that you want them to take away?
Um, Advice. Yeah, I I think we can all get caught up in so much, and I sometimes need to do this, but every once in a while, I think we all just need to relax, take a breath, take a minute for ourselves. I don't think we all do that enough. Um, I think in teaching you see a lot of burnout, and
Mm.
we, especially at my district, we've gone through some teachers in these last couple of years, and it's sad to see. Some good teachers too, and I think we all put too much on ourselves. I think somehow, some way, we all need to find more time to take a second, take a minute for yourself, and just don't let yourself get burnt out.
Well said. We all need that time for ourselves. Why stress ourselves out, right?
Yeah.
And we all have what calms us. So that's great advice. So Adam, if our listeners have any questions, is there any way they can connect with you? An email
Yeah.
you want to give?
Yeah, my work email's best.
Yeah.
Not a big social media person, so work email's best, and that's Adam.Joyce,
Okay.
Watertown.K12.ma.us.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to link that in the show notes so our listeners can get that. Well,
Awesome.
Adam, thank you so much for sharing your experience and expertise with us.
Oh,
Listeners, if you have any questions, you can email us at mayfordpodcast@gmail.com. We'll have this episode uploaded soon. Also, we're asking our listeners to leave a review if this podcast has been helpful in supporting you in any way, as it does help listeners find it. Thank you all for listening. Have a great week, and we'll be back soon. Thanks, Adam.
thank you, Jake.